Hi, Carly.
Hello. How are you?
How are you? Lovely. How are you?
Lovely.
I did sunflower nails.
Oh, nice. My nails are not done. I'll have to keep them out of the screen.
Oh my God. Okay, so do you want to start us off on this session of Sip and Pep?
Sure. I mean, this one came, I don't remember what stemmed it between you and I, but it's definitely something that I have truly felt since um, COVID, I think, happened. And it is around the idea of normal. And I'm going to use the quotes normal. And it comes up a lot in conversations as we talk about ourselves and as we're talking about, interacting with people and society. And I've just decided I think the word normal should be abolished from the dictionary, like, because nothing is normal.
Nothing is normal, and the pressure of being normal only feels that you're not supposed to have anything special, which is just essentially wrong. I feel like everybody is
Mm-hmm.
different and everybody is special and unique. I guess not special, unique is the way to say it because normal. I was never normal. I was
Mm-hmm.
I was never normal, and that was such like I feel triggered mostly because of the pressure of being normal is really just acting normal.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like what
And
even
looking,
is that?
looking,
What even is that?
and it's such a like normal is this positive connotation of the phrase versus, ordinary, where they're very similar, but ordinary isn't necessarily saying it's a positive thing. Does that make sense? Where extraordinary is like the positive aspect. So I love ordinary and extraordinary because it doesn't give that falsehood, that false sense of hope, that goal that you will, I mean, who has the goal to be normal? But it's an impossible goal.
Also neutral. Like if we were
Mm-hmm.
talking about when we're talking about normal, if we're talking about neutral, that would make a lot of sense because neutral is a state of being, right?
Mm-hmm.
So water is super wavy today, or it's just, basic, and that would be neutral. And temperature is so high or so low, neutral, like room temperature in the middle. And
It's
so,
like not an
uh,
extreme.
so that in that sense makes sense. But when we demand someone be normal or act normal, so essentially we're stripping them of the extraordinary, the
Mm-hmm.
extremes, right? And
Take
that's what
away
makes
any
people.
uniqueness, take away anything that makes you different, which is human nature, a human being. Like the word should go away. And then the term back to normal. This
Oh
is
my
where it
God,
came around COVID,
I was waiting you would mention that.
because that is impossible. There is no back to normal. A lot of people said it after COVID. Oh, I can't wait till we get back to normal. We went through so much. You can't not be affected by what we just went through.
No, it feels like so much growth happened, so much change happened, and you're like the enemy of growth and evolution, and you want back to normal, which also was just a state of being. Like it wasn't good for people. So,
Right?
um, like by definition, normal doesn't sound good for people, right? So
Mm-hmm.
whatever the normal was back in the day, like people used to commute hour, 2 hours back and forth going to work and
Mm-hmm.
just sitting there, like just I was reading a Reddit thread the other day and they were like, hey, so I'm at work and like, what do you even do in an 8 to 5 job? In like, how do you, if your work is done in the first few hours, what do you do? And they were like, I just sit on my computer waiting for a request to come. I'm like, sorry, that's horrible. What do you mean? That's not okay. And I don't know, rather than trying to fit human beings into whatever the definition that people have made up of normal, what if it was normal to accept accept the diversity, accept the extraordinary experiences that people come with?
Yeah. It's normal to be different. To me, like that's New York City, right? You walk through New York City and see people on the street, and it's like that one of the classic visuals I have in my brain is if you don't look different, you're not normal.
That is true. Remember when we were in the cab and I was like, this is what I love about New York. And like, there's a suit person with like black suit, and there's a person with a leotard, like an animal.
Yes.
It was like New York. But don't we feel more normal in places where we're accepted for all of our magic, for all of
Yes.
the things that we are? And
Hmm.
shouldn't that be more normalized,
Hmm.
where we just, it's
But
okay
can't,
if you get angry?
yeah, and can't we have a different word than normal? I'm telling you, I'm going to write to Webster Dictionary and ask them to abolish it. And like, where can you not replace the word normal? Let's do that exercise. You know, you feel more comfortable when you're accepted, right? Not necessarily normal.
Yeah.
I still feel unique, but
Neutral.
I feel more safe.
I think it's Dead Poet Society, don't kill me. But when Robin Williams talks about why do we learn language, it's not that you're very tired, you're exhausted. You're not
Mm-hmm.
this something, you are appalled. You are not very angry, you're enraged. And I think somehow where we are today, it's become lazy. It's become like linguistic has like become lazy. And that's a fault of our laziness, that normal is such an abnormal word,
Mm-hmm.
right? We did that. We like every word, we just take a word and we overuse it to a point where like we start hating it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what suffered poor normal suffered that fate. But I have a question for you. Did you ever feel pressured to be normal? And when they said normal, what did that mean? What did it look like?
Oh my God, it brings me right back to elementary school. Like, if you're not wearing what everyone else is wearing, you don't look normal. I think I played basketball for like 1 year or 2 years. I legit wore turquoise spandex that were down to my ankles under jean shorts with a basketball jersey on. Like, if that's not normal, if you look at this little fourth grade basketball team in Turner, Maine, like, I mean,
Do you have
but the
pictures?
I probably do somewhere. I'm going to find them. But like, talk about wacky. But as a child, as a girl in rural Maine, there's a lot of pressure to be, and that word normal is, it just adds the pressure. It's not like be the same as everyone
Mhm.
else. Normal is like something it sounds like you're striving for when it's actually boring, right?
Mhm. 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 It almost feels like a fallback rather than a step up.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
like that's what I don't I that's my beef with normal, where it's always just trying to chain you to something basic, and
Yeah.
nobody is.
How
Um
about like a date? Like, do you recall of a time where you may have been felt like you needed to act normal on a date or in a situation with a guy?
ah maybe back in the day, but recently I'm very rebellious, and not lately. I'm very much like fuck
Oh yeah.
you. I don't care. I don't care. But I that's probably because I started so early in my life where
Hmm.
I was like, fuck this, I'm not normal. I owned it, right? I was like, I am not. I'm sorry. Everything that I did was wrong, right? I started dating early in India. I grew up in India, and it's not normal for girls to date there. And I remember having a boyfriend really early on, and like it was like people knew that they liked each other or whatever. And I got called names. I was bullied, and I was slut shamed just for having a boyfriend. And it just made me, it didn't deter me. Somehow it just made me more angry and like, fuck you. This is who I am. This is what I'm
Yeah.
going to do. This is how I think. I don't need your permission to exist. So I think very early on when I came here and I just, would go on these dates where it's normal to act, girly, and it's normal to, say thank you and please. And I mean, I do say thank you and please, but I also curse like a sailor on leave. Like I am
Right.
very,
Yep.
my mouth, I can either control my face or my mouth. Both doesn't happen. So if my mouth doesn't say it, my face is going to give it away. But yeah, and I think it happens because of that reason. We have so many societal rules related to marriage, love, dating, working. Like,
Yeah.
what do we wear at work? What is normal for girls to wear at work? Um, I remember like thinking all these rules are there because normal doesn't come normally to people. It doesn't occur.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes. I think it's interesting too that we both went opposite directions. So like the idea of normal pushed you away, like
Mm,
you're like, I'm going this way. And I think, my upbringing being one of the only darker skinned people in my elementary school. So I was
mm.
already not normal. And so I gravitated to look more similar or to try to like fall in line.
My God, I never thought about that.
Isn't that interesting?
That is brilliant. I never thought about it because I truly think that the school that I went to, everybody was, different complexion. So it wasn't like, it was never a thing that I would think about. Yeah, like, this is sad, but in India too, like being dark skinned is, fair skinned is lauded, which I think is
Right.
because of colonization, which
Yep.
I'm sure it's because of colonization.
Yeah.
But I never had that thought that like I already look different, so I have to play by the rules. Um, but that would fuck me up, I think. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that is a big, like, I am already not normal. What do I do? Um, but so let me act. Let me just make myself like this.
Hmm.
So that makes sense to me. For me, it was more like, yeah, nobody's like me, so I'm special. Great.
Right.
Lovely. So
Yeah.
I just went
Just
harder
like
on
a
that.
frame of mind. Yeah.
So let's talk about work. Because earlier you said something and it just reminded me of this horrible conversation I had. This was way back when I was an intern. I'm not going to name names, but
Hmm.
it was an agency. And I remember as an intern going there the first day and then them having like this list of not attire, but like attire was a part of it, but like they had these disciplines on a
Yep.
piece of paper. And I'm going through them, and most of them are about what women can wear.
Mm.
And this is the part that I had a fight, a first day of internship.
You
I was
entitled
20,
little.
22, maybe. And I show up, and the one line that said something about women should not wear clothing that attracts attention to their something like reproductive organs, and which means, and they had to clarify it. I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? And then the thing said, so no t-shirts that have quotes on the chest area. I'm like, hold the fuck up.
Where
So
else are the
it's
quotes ever?
I'm like, so it's okay for a man to wear a t-shirt that has a quote, But me, I cannot wear one just because you are responsible for your gaze.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not responsible for your gaze. I'm just existing. I have boobs and I'm existing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember having a word with the office manager, and I was like, explain this to me. Explain this to me why I cannot and he can, for example, this colleague. And I think that's why I never like got like a job offer on that.
She's a troublemaker.
There's like, and she's not about the culture. Like, you're right. I'm not, if your culture is to press people down into something, I am not fit for the culture. Happy to not be. Happy
Mm-hmm.
to not be fit for that culture, you know? But yeah, let's talk about where you have felt pressured to be normal and in whatever fucked up way that they told
I mean, isn't it classic to just like water cooler talk? If you're not watching The Bachelorette, when all of them
you.
are talking about it, you are shunned, aren't you? Like you have nothing to talk about. Or sometimes it's, oh my God, you do watch Bravo. Ugh. You know, so
Oh, yeah. So what is
it's
normal?
yeah, like what is normal in that group setting? It's definitely dependent on the culture of the group you're a part of. It's popularity. That's what it comes down to. Normal is the most populous opinion. And
Hate
so
that.
that's when it's hard, especially going into a new job. Like,
Mm.
I haven't been new at that many jobs, and it is horrifying. It's terrifying. It's like I don't even know how long it took me to say my age because that wasn't normal at my last company. And so I was afraid to be judged about my age. I remember there was a group that was talking and they were like, "Carly, how old are you?" And I thought for a minute, I'm like, "Do I answer this?" Like, and so I just said it. They're like, "No," and I'm like, "I don't know if that's good or not."
It's horrible. I also like the things that we have normalized. I think that's all that boils down to. And the funniest thing about that, like take any example, take um any real world example. So a species doesn't evolve if there's no mutation. So somebody had to do something weird. Somebody had to do
Hmm.
something different. No amount of innovation can happen in science or technology or anything if somebody did not try something new, do
Yeah.
something different. um Anything, fashion, name a book, like name anything, and it can only grow. Even one person can only grow if they do something what was not normal for them consistently, right?
Hmm.
You talk
Yep.
about building a different body, different skill set, different whatever. You have to pick something that was not normal. You have to do something different to what you were doing and do it consistently. Do it
And
like hammer it home.
and that's one of the hardest things to do, right? To what's not normal for yourself,
But
stepping out of
mostly
that
because of,
comfort zone.
right, but mostly because of, I think, for the pressure of how it would appear.
Hmm.
I think if I want to do something differently, say I wanted to be a doctor today. So of course becoming a doctor is hard, but then you also think about all these things that I spent so many years doing something like this. I spent, what would people think? What would my parents say? Like there's so much more than what we put on ourselves, which we do put considerable amount of our own pressure, which I think is learned behavior from other people. But there's so much more. Like normalcy is the death of evolution,
Yes.
innovation, growth.
Yes. Yep.
And yet we like people who would tell us, press us into I, what?
Yep. We gravitate to those that are like us. Yet, I like how you said, if we are normal, we won't grow. But also, if we surround ourselves with people like ourselves, we won't grow.
Mm-hmm.
It should
Mm-hmm.
be celebrated. those differences so that we can learn and interact and respond and engage with those different minded people.
The more you start to accept in the world, in the friends group, in the family, within yourself, you will see the normal chipping. You'll see the normal, this chains of normal stripping. And I think this is a full circle. I think we've come to the solution part of this, where
Yeah.
um, I love how our talks have that kind of rhythm where we talk about so many problems. We're like, oh, so the solution is to just accept and celebrate who we are, who our friends are, um, what is happening in the world. And once you start to do that, where like, not have this need of something to have like fit into somewhere like exactly you how you want it, that's where the magic happens. That's where we are like, oh, I didn't even think that I could do it this way.
Mhm. And to me, the smartest person in the world, the richest person in the world is one of those that is surrounded by, the most diverse group of personalities and backgrounds. They've learned the most, and
Yeah, because it's not a challenge anymore. Like
right.
they don't have to be normal according to anybody else, and that like nothing is speaking for them. Well, not what they wear is speaking for them, not what they drive is speaking for them, their friends group is not speaking for them. Because we tend to, I watch this Dexter TV show, right? And he's a psychopath, he's a serial killer, but his monologues are really funny to me because he goes into, I have to have a family so I look normal. I have to have a this so I don't feel, this like weird person. And so, how much of our lives are we living, are we faking to be normal?
Right.
How much? Like, there's something to think about. Do you think you need to be married because that's normal? That's what people do? Or do you want to have a partner? Do you want to have kids because that's what people do? Or is that something that you want? And so I love asking people and I'm asking myself more than anything, if I want something, I've always known I've wanted kids. Why? Why?
Mm-hmm.
If you're saying things like, my parents did that, people are having kids around me, that's ridiculous. My entire answer is that I want to experience that connection, that I grow with a child. Like I want to spoil a kid rotten. Like that's what I want to do. I want to travel with my kid. I want to learn with my kid. I want to have that experience with my kid where I just learn something, like for a human being to grow, give them freedom to, not my freedom to give, but see them how they shine. And
To
that's
learn
just a
from
different,
mom, to learn
that's
from the
mostly, yeah.
new being you're becoming, to learn from being a parent. I think that goes back to, again, you have to put you first. These
Mm,
kind of decisions has to be about you, not
always.
what others think, not what others expect, not what others would say. It really has to come down to you. And it's a good point. There are people out there that make that decision because they should.
Maybe that's why there's so much suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why, like, you're dating somebody for 7, 8 years and you're like, I should marry him. That's normal. If it's not completely coming like, oh my God, I want to marry this guy,
Right.
don't.
Right. Yeah.
There's no reason to do something because it's already laid out. That's what people do. It's normal to do that. It's not normal to date somebody for 10 years and then not marry them. Who cares?
Yeah.
Because 10 years now, 100 years later, like, better get rid of this whatever 10 years rather than fucking up your entire rest of your life.
Right.
So I think normalcy is just end of choice, freedom, uniqueness, and honestly, growth.
It's expectations, it's judgment, it's pressure.
Mhm. And
Unneeded
for
on
what?
all of those. Yep.
Yeah.
Jinx.
Okay, I think we're ready for our exercise. What do you think?
Okay, I've got one. This one is called In Business for Yourself.
In business for yourself?
Yes. Okay, here we go. I mean, talk about.
I know. I was like, that's pointed. Love that.
The crowded walks at a summer fair are lined with street vendors hawking their wares from tents and stands. Table after table of wooden children's toys, crafts, oil paintings, silver jewelry, and other treasures draw the eyes of passersby and make them pause a while to browse. Everything is made by hand, and no two items are alike, giving a sense of hope that a once in a lifetime find waits unnoticed at the back of some counter display. The quality of the goods range from merely competent to exquisite craftsmanship, equal to that found in the finest boutiques. And the vendors themselves, with their colorful personalities and appearances, add a dimension to the adventure that can't be found in any window shopping experience. The scene has been set. Why not stop a while and see what's up for sale? 1. You have opened a tabletop stand to sell your own original handmade jewelry. How many different types of accessories and bangles do you put on display? Think.
Oh my God, this is right up my alley. I can't pick. It will be
I
so good.
know.
I feel like everything
I
I put
can't
out
even
will be
lift the
just so unique.
display. All right. All right. Number 2, a person walks up and looks over your table, but after only a moment walks away without buying anything. What do you think to yourself?
They're probably boring. They're probably normal.
Number 3, another potential customer comes up and seems extremely interested in one of your designs. In fact, you consider it the best piece in your collection. What type of salesmanship do you use to recommend it?
What do you mean? They are interested. Why do I need
Someone's very
salesmanship?
interested. That's
Here
your
you
answer.
go.
That's your answer.
They're not interested. Give it to them. Like, what do you mean?
Okay, 4. It's time to close up shop for the day. How would you describe your sales?
Brilliant.
I mean, haven't we talked about our egos in a past life?
Drag me.
Okay, this is the key to business for yourself. Fashion accessories like jewelry express the social side of the self. Items you make by hand only deepen that personal meaning and significance. Your responses to this scenario therefore show how you hope to be viewed by others. This is interesting. Number 1, the number of different kinds of jewelry you sell corresponds to the number of different personas or social masks you wear in different situations. These are the faces
Amen.
you put on in front of your friends, your parents, your boss, your partner. The more you have, the more complicated your social life will seem.
I had so many, like, none of them were the same.
Yeah, it was like full of a variety of everything. But I feel like it was all similar style,
Right. The
you
whole
know?
point was that they're different, but they're like within the same collection. So
Yep.
just one. I am literally the same with you as I am. I just kiss David more. I think that's the only difference. That's the only difference. I think
You're more
and me
schmoopy
too.
with David.
I mean, like he's just so fucking cute. I can't even. But that's all. Like that's the only difference between my friends and like people. Like just I'm the same. I just don't change.
I think I'm definitely different, but ultimately the personality is the same. It's just different ways to approach. I'm probably more extrovert in work, than
Mm.
personal, social. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh my God.
2, the feeling you had at losing a customer corresponds to your feelings after a heartbreak or other rejection. Did you feel it was something you did wrong? I wonder what it is they didn't like. Shrug it off and get on with your business. No problem. There's plenty of other people in the park. Or take the chance to make some critical observations of your own. They wouldn't know quality workmanship if it walked them up and bit them in the nose. That was you. I was like, oh, it just must not be their style.
And that's what I think. I wouldn't give a fuck. Like if it were like 50 people who were just having the same reaction, or even five, then I will do a critical, like, oh, I wonder what was. But like if it's one person, I'd be like, not for you, not for you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Um, 3, the way you talked about your finest piece reflects what you feel your own strong points to be and the ways you try to express them to others. Did you take a low key approach and let customers make up their own minds? Hammer the point home by badgering them incessantly? Or offer to lower your asking price? Be careful not to sell yourself short.
First one. Like, good choice. You made some really good decisions today. Here you go.
See, I just added a little, oh my gosh, that looks so good on you.
Oh, that's really you, though.
I
You would praise
compliment.
somebody. Yeah. I'd praise the good job. You chose the right one.
Okay, so that was the way you talked about your finest piece. So, number 4, your sales total for the day is an evaluation of your own social achievement. Those who said they sold out of their entire stock are not short on self assurance. Just try not to scare people off with your boldness. If you said you had a bad day, you may need a little boost of self esteem. Don't be too hard on yourself. Customers can smell doubt a mile away. If you had an average sales for the day, you're the type who understands your true place in the world without undervaluing your own worth. And that may be the key to achieving long term success in this line of work. I mean, you
First one.
sold
First
out.
one.
I definitely was like 3/4, 75%. I didn't sell everything, but I was happy.
Yeah. I think that was fun. Do you want to? So, how do we want to wrap up this normal?
I mean, besides I need to start a petition and I want people to comment on the sip and pap to sign my petition to abolish the word normal from a dictionary. Besides that, I do vow to not use it. I actually never use it, and unless I'm talking about this very subject. I thought it was really interesting, the idea of if you try to be normal, you can't grow. And if you surround yourself with normal, you can't grow.
Yeah, I think it's the death of growth. Just trying to be normal and leaking all of your energy, trying to be just enough or not enough or basic. I think that's just a waste of life. That's all I have
Yeah.
to say. It's a horrible idea. Don't do it.
Normal is the death of growth. Is that like the t-shirt?
Yeah, that is a t-shirt.
Yeah, I
Fuck
think so.
normal. Fuck normal. I want unique. Anytime somebody tries to tell you who to be or how you are feeling or how you should act,
Yeah.
say fuck off and keep it moving. Just fuck normal.
Mm-hmm.
Mic drop. All right.
Well,
I'll
thank
see you
you.
next week. Thank
Okay.
you. I love you.
Love you. Bye.